Gone.
All
Done.
right. It is December 22nd, everybody. We're going to do a quick design review meeting. I've shortened the agenda down to include some of the design tests we're working on right now, as well as some issues for Backdrop 1.6 that we should probably review. And then we'll hopefully end early and keep working on Backdrop 1.6 before the other meeting today. Let's see. So the first item on our list is Backdrop CMS homepage design. I don't know if you have any updates on that, Wes.
I do.
Yay.
Share application window. That application window. All right. So it's looking like a thing. So there's been some changes. I took off the little tag. There's a little text here. It said default or something. Took that off since this doesn't do anything yet. And I included this, which I hadn't considered before, but is on the current site. And this part's I haven't touched.
When you said this, which part were you talking about? I don't think we can see your cursor.
This right here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. All right, I see it.
And I didn't bother styling this yet. Did the Pantheon block here, and then just kind of left this stuff because I want to get this to a point where I can start. I don't like that hover effect at all. Where I can start like putting this code out. Maybe some other people can help, or I can do it. I don't care. And then so yeah. Also of note that the search bar is here, which I didn't consider when I originally designed it. So we have that, and then add-ons is a thing, and then if we do that, it goes whoop, 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 and we can commit this little hamburgery thing to core if we want. It's just it's a little bit of HTML and CSS added onto the regular drop-down thing. Oops.
So there's an issue for that right now. Somebody made a theme setting for Basis. Was that you?
No, actually, that's the part I wanted. I don't have, I don't know how to make the theme setting, but I do know how to make this. So
perfect.
We can put those together. That'd be great. So yeah, I haven't considered everything yet. So like that, for example, I haven't done the smallest mobile size yet, but I think my idea is that the search bar will just be here at the bottom and maybe be there whole time, and I'll just shrink up this stuff. Or it maybe can only show up when you have it open. I don't know. I'll figure it out. So there's that. And then the modules page. The old design, I felt like it wasn't quite working with the new stuff that was going on. So I took a stab at this. I don't know that I'm completely happy with it yet, but looks like a thing. And then I also got the default layout working now. So I was going to go through a couple more layouts and switch them over because the pages that are on old layouts look like crap. And then after that, I was going to push everything up, and then other people could help if they have time.
Are you working on a feature branch?
Hold on. I mean, I could be. I don't know that I've committed yet.
That would be my only thought. Like, just because there might be other stuff we have to do, like hot fixes to the production site on, just put it on a different branch and then push it up, and we can merge it when we're ready.
Yeah, I made I can't see it, but I made it's a 301-new theme based on homepage designs.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we also have a dev server that's
for the website?
Yeah, we do. That we could use a feature branch and then deploy the feature branch up to the dev server and then solicit more feedback from other people. Like I'm sure Gregory would love to make a pass through this, and you know how he tends to pull up like hundreds of things.
Right.
And that way we would get more
eyes on it.
and more hands-on feedback rather than just
Yep.
like from looking at it, oh yeah, it looks awesome. But
Using it.
on the other hand though, there's probably lots of things that you're aware of, like your secondary menu links inside of the menu. You hadn't styled those ULs yet, and so
it's this one. This one's messed up because these are headings, and the drop-down menu system doesn't deal well with that. So if these get changed to links, it'll work.
Oh, the
So,
special menu links
So
thing.
these are fine. Right?
we can't
these
see.
Oh, sorry. You can see my reassuring look.
yes,
We can.
Yeah. So this is the one that's just, these are just headings, and these are actual links. So these ones work. They're fine. It's just, yeah, we need to get rid of that module and then figure out what we want to do with handbook, if anything, at the moment. And then I was going to make this real. So this is just a content issue, basically. But yeah, there's plenty of stuff here that's not done. So
yeah, maybe we should. I mean, for the sake of deployment, I'm not sure how reproducible we want to get with this, but ideally, we'd make an update hook that did all of the changes that are necessary, and then deployment would be,
On the module.
run update.php, and then everything would be done, or merge the branch, run update.php, and then be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm cool with that. The only thing I didn't know how to do is changing menu items with code.
That can be a little messy, especially because these aren't normal menu items. They're those special ones that are provided by that module. So.
Oh, and there's a lot of config updates because we're changing layouts, and I made some small updates to views, like just reordering things or little stuff like that. So
yeah, there might be a way, like if you have all of the layouts the way you want them on your current site, that we could just like delete the old config file, copy in the new one, rename it, so they use the same name as the previous one.
Well, yeah, I'm just taking the existing ones and then just saying you're not using that layout anymore, you're using this one.
Yeah.
So the only thing I think is going to be a problem is they're being committed to dev active, and if it goes to another dev site, then it's weird.
Right.
Yeah. That's fine.
I guess that's another obvious step that would be required in the update.php script would be doing a config sync, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's all I had.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's really coming along. I think it looks excellent. Man, so much better than what we have.
I really like that gray box you put at the top of the modules page, like trying to deal with that heading section. I think that looks good.
Yeah, it struck me weird that on the current site it's flip-flop, because to me the header is actually secondary, and we actually want people paying attention to the content area.
Yeah.
And the search bar obviously is important, but
yeah, the really big search bar also looks great.
Cool. Hooray! Putting everything in EMs. All I did was change the font size and it was bigger. It's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm using REMs on my basis sub theme, and I've been really pleased with it. I basically only use them for anything font related, and then everything that's like layout related, I'm doing in pixels. And it's so easy to just like, especially the responsiveness where you're like change the font and everything just works. So
I love it.
All right, let's see. So that's it for homepage redesign. The only other stuff I put on our agenda today are issues related to Backdrop 1.6. I put entity reference on here because it looks like there have been a couple of new user experience reviews. There are issues in the queue about like removing the word entity and bundle and trying to figure out what that looks like. But I haven't played with that very much from a user experience perspective yet. I was kind of hoping there might be other people on this call who had. If everyone here hasn't gotten a chance to use the new module, maybe we should just skip that issue. Doesn't look like it.
I haven't.
Yeah, even I haven't looked at it recently. So
let's skip that one. And the next one I think we all have looked at is adding the custom view modes interface, because this has gone through a lot of iteration where originally we just took the entity view mode module from Drupal and shoved it in. And then we're like, wait a minute, that's kind of a weird way to integrate a user interface to systems we're already using. And there are a bunch of interesting recommendations from the people who are working on it to take the entity view modes list and replace the managed display pages for each entity with that list. And then that way it would lose that weird navigation pattern we have in Field UI where you have to use sub-tabs for managing displays.
Yeah, why don't we pull up the sandbox?
Yeah,
it's a lot easier to show than to describe.
Let me see if I think I have it open. Desktop. Okay, so over here, oh, that's where I was. Right. I even have it open. So here's where we are right now. We're working on the text at the top. There's too much text and it's too entity specific, or in this case, node specific. So what we're gonna do, I think, is delete the second paragraph. This is what I have right now. There's some really great recommendations in the queue to change this a little bit. But we removed that funky sub-tab navigation pattern, which I don't think most people who don't know Drupal are familiar with anyway. And now we have this standard navigation pattern where the drop buttons on the right go to where you want. Some of these view modes are custom, and if they're custom, you get options to configure them, which is really just changing their name, and delete them. And if they're not custom view modes, like if we look at teaser, then you don't get the ability to change its name and you don't get the ability to delete it. That's because that's provided in code. If we have view modes that are not customized, if they're using the default display, I initially put them in this collapsed field set. So like full content is down here and people wouldn't, my thought was that beginners coming into this page aren't gonna know what a view mode is. Their use case is, I wanna change the way my fields are for full content. And if we show them the full content view mode, they're gonna come here, customize it, which will override the display. And then they're gonna have to just manage the fields for every single view mode rather than doing the default. But it sounds like overwhelmingly people do not like this pattern of putting a second table inside a collapsed field set. And so right now the suggestion is to make it work more like the layouts UI, where there is, the custom ones, or customized ones would come at the top, and then the disabled ones would come at the bottom.
It's actually more like the views layout, views UI.
Well, yeah, let's open that too. It's a little bit like the views UI. I did change the color. So the disabled ones are this lighter gray, and I got that from the views UI. The difference here, the things that I think that would be confusing about these two things is that in the views UI, the disabled ones have a very obvious like enable link on the right. So the fact that they're grayed out and the link says enable is a cue to people that you can't use these until you turn them on. In the field UI, you can use these even if they haven't been customized, which is significantly different because the way it works is you'll use them and it'll just use default. And so having that link on the side say customize doesn't give the user any cue that you can use them already, which is a little weird. And then the difference between the field UI and the layouts UI is that you can use these. They are not disabled and there's like no difference between the default ones and the non-default ones in terms of their functionality. So these are just, they're always in use and you just change it and it works everything. So I don't know how to, like we've got 3 slightly different use cases and 3 slightly different UIs that are all fairly similar and it's a little tricky. But what we could do is if we put the default view mode at the bottom the way this works rather than at the top, where that might be a little more familiar to people, where you can still use it and you can still customize it the same as all the others, but it would be separated at the bottom. And we wouldn't need this paragraph of text because the text goes right at the top there. But it doesn't solve our problem of what to do with the non-customized view modes. And then there's also this issue of like how to add a new one. Originally, the entity view modes module used an action link, which I removed initially because it made sense to treat it more like the field UI and put it in line. But now that we have a table here of view modes, all of our other ones have a add new whatever at the top, like all of our other UIs. And so I think it makes sense to go back to using that action link. So we could say add view mode at the top. Now get rid of that funky row at the bottom. I still don't know what to do about the view modes that are enabled, but not specific.
I think instead of graying them out, I would leave them black, but maybe the view mode name put in italics or something. And I think your status is descriptive. So even though the button doesn't say anything, I feel like the status should make it clear.
Okay.
So here's an idea that I don't think has been suggested yet, and that we have a lot of problems with these disabled view modes or uncustomized view modes or whatever, showing them on the same page.
Right.
You know, like there's a lot of issues with them. Like if they're shown in the list straight up, then a user probably will try to use like full content before they use default, even when most of the time they really should just be using default.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have this problem that if you show them all of the options, then they're going to use the ones that
they shouldn't be using.
That they shouldn't be using.
Until they know more.
Right, until they know more. But if we hide them, then we end up with funky UIs like this collapsed field set. And actually, like that label there, view modes using the default display, I was just like, what in the world is that? Like, and
this is our third attempt at a label here. We have not figured it out.
And so if we revert back to the idea of using the add new view mode.
Action link.
What if we didn't hide, but took all of the disabled view modes
and put them in there?
And put them in the add new view mode thing. And then you would say like existing view mode or customized or new view mode. And then existing view mode would like show you a drop down of all of the disabled non-customized view modes. And then you could add another one. Or you could it could even be a drop down of all of the existing ones, or then like an other or something like that. The thing gives you a text field to enter in a new label.
Yeah, I like that.
And then we would not be showing users stuff that they probably don't want.
Yeah.
And it would be hidden under the add new option.
Yeah, and that also gets around an issue where like you'll create I just created a view mode called gallery teaser. I had to make it for stupid reasons. I was upset that I couldn't just use teaser. But anyway, I have made view modes that are pretty specific to one or two content types, and in the context of other content types, they just don't make any sense. So like that would also solve that issue.
Yeah, it would avoid showing them even in a disabled state on this page. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Okay, I like that. I'll give that a try. And then another thing that was weird is like the depending on how long your machine name gets, like your columns have to get reordered here when you're working on stuff. I'm not sure that's a huge issue on large screens, but it's a little bit weird, especially.
Well, that problem would go away if we moved it to a separate page, because this would no longer be a table.
Yeah.
It would just be a select list.
Quite fit.
Yeah.
Well, and we could do the same thing we did for heroes, that property Jeff recommended.
Oh yeah, to word wrap on break word.
Yeah. Whatever that's called.
yeah, that it'll break a word even in the middle. Yeah.
Okay, those are great ideas. Thanks. Let's see. I need to go back here and turn off my screen sharing. Stop. All right, and then agenda. So there are a bunch of other issues for 1.6 that I pulled up too to see if there was anything that we needed to talk about. Most of them are little tiny things. We got the layouts full bleed thing fixed, which is design related. I think that was it.
The repeating image on the hero.
Yeah, is that repeating image one? Is that ready to go? I saw it, but I didn't actually see a pull request yet.
I just made the image. I'll have a pull request shortly.
Okay. So there isn't a pull request yet. Okay, great.
Nope.
There are a couple of issues that include markup changes that I want to get your read on, Nate. One of them is the ability to add the current page as the last breadcrumb. There are a couple of people talking about better solutions to that problem that involve adding a feature, like a checkbox, like include current page or not.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if we had time to get that in for 1.6. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it, but that we have a very valid place to put that now because we have a block, right? It would be a block setting, just
On
like
the breadcrumb.
menus. Yeah, and that would be super useful because that's like a 1 out of 2 websites wants it one way and 1 out of 2 wants it the other way. And so it would be really great to have that as an option now that we have a legitimate place to put it. In Drupal 7 and in Drupal 8, like, where do you put settings for a breadcrumb?
Yeah.
Is that like, I guess you
So
shove it into
the
theme
other
settings or
recommendation
something,
for that one was to add it to the basis theme. Would you feel more comfortable doing it as a setting and saying if it doesn't get in for 1.6, we'll do it in 1.7? And that way we wouldn't change the markup in basis? Is that the right fix?
Well, I don't know. I guess I'm not sure how much markup is actually being changed here.
It's just, there's already a theme breadcrumb function in basis, so it seemed like an easy place to add it. Just one more item to the UL.
Right.
The concern for me is anybody who's built a basis theme or a basis sub theme will all of a sudden have these things showing up where they weren't before if we just roll it out as a fix.
Yeah, which is why it makes, like, as if it were a feature on the block, then it would be off because it would be off by default.
So
and then when you turn it on, it might not look good, but that's
okay. So for 1.6, you would rather say, let's try and do it the right way rather than getting it done.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And then if it doesn't go in for 1.6, go to 1.7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good approach for that. We'll need to add that into the issue. The other one that was kind of a bigger deal was, I think it was the message one.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go, message style overrides. So this is something I noticed when I tried to make a basis subtheme. As soon as you create a subtheme for basis, all of your message styles are broken. So you get just text with no color and no image. And that's because basis tried to override the system theme CSS file.
And the paths are all different.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we have this problem right now where anyone who creates a basis subtheme doesn't get message styling, and then it's really, really hard to put it back because you have to then go manually copy all of those images from wherever they were in core. You can't just undo the styles that are in basis because basis does them all over again. So you can either copy the system theme CSS file back into your subtheme and then update the paths, but you have to copy all the images. Like, it's just really hard to get it.
Did you see my comment on that?
Is it different than moving messages?
No, I overrode system.theme.css because it had some CSS rules that would start specificity wars.
Right.
I didn't want to deal with it. So my suggestion was, what if we separated the system message theming to a different CSS file?
Yeah. That was the thing I wanted Nate's feeling on too, because that's, I think, the cleanest solution is to say message styles are something usually people don't want to touch, whereas system theme CSS is something that everybody's probably going to want to get rid of. And so if we can separate those two things into like a system message CSS from system theme, then we don't have to change very much of the code in basis because it just removes system theme and it would leave system message. And it would make it so that anyone who creates a sub-theme, whether it's of basis or actually just a theme at all, wouldn't have to style the message styles unless they wanted them to be different. And we spent a long time making them really nice in Backdrop whenever it was when we put in the new admin theme, fixing them in 7. It would be great if we could actually allow people to use those. And since right now the theme that comes out of the default theme makes it really hard to work with, I thought it would be good if we could fix that in core. But that's changed that, even though it does a lot of good, like that, if we move those styles out of system theme, that would affect every single Backdrop site
that had overridden system theme, right?
Or even ones that hadn't, if they thought they knew where the message styles were coming from and they did anything to them, like I don't know, it could be messy. It seemed like the right solution, but I wasn't sure we could do that in the 1.x cycle.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's discuss it in the issue queue more, I think.
Okay. So yeah, I saw your comment, Wes, and that's kind of what I was thinking too, where it was like, I really like that idea of pulling out messages, but I'm not sure how dangerous that is to everybody running Backdrop.
Yeah, I think it really mostly only affects people that had actually overridden all of system theme.css, because they will have not overridden this new one that we just created. And so suddenly more CSS will be added that previously they had removed.
Right. I think the likelihood of sites having overridden system theme CSS right now is very low unless they're using Basis.
Possibly. I mean, maybe just less likely than not having overridden it, but I'm not sure.
I mean, it depends also overridden versus removed. Like Basis removed it, so Basis had to replace all those styles.
Right.
But I think that, I don't know, guessing on our intended target audience, I'm guessing those are not people who generally remove style sheets the way that we did in Basis. That's why it was a good teaching tool. But it's also like, I'm just going to create a theme from scratch. You're not going to know how to do that. So
yeah, I would say that.
Let's try it. And
Yeah,
see
let's see how it looks and see what effect it has. Yeah.
Good. Yay, teamwork. All right. So that was the only other thing I think design related wise for today. Okay. So it's 1:30. Wes, do you have anything you specifically want to talk about that's design related? No? Okay. So let's go ahead and wrap this meeting. And we will meet again at 2 to talk about development tasks remaining for Backdrop 1.6, including references, and probably we'll talk about entity view modes again. But good ideas.
Okay, excellent.
Great.
Thanks, Wes. It's looking great.
No problem. Bye.
Okay, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.